Hello friends, this video on mineral nutrition part 6 is brought to you by examfear.com. No more fear from exam. The next element is potassium. Now here you can look at the picture of the stomata. You must be remembering the role of potassium ions in the stomatal movement. How those stomata opens and closes, we have spoken about it quite a number of times in the previous lessons. So the opening and closing of stomata is governed by the kidney-shaped guard cells. So these are the guard cells. You see, this is one guard cell, this is another guard cell. Now in these guard cells, the concentration of the potassium ions, this black dots which you see, they represent the potassium ions. The concentration of potassium ions actually makes the guard cells sometimes become swollen and sometimes become close to each other, which in turn causes the opening and closing of stomata. So you can imagine what an important role potassium plays. It helps in the opening and closing of stomata, and because of that the processes like photosynthesis and transpiration happens in a plant. So it plays a very important role in that way. It helps in protein synthesis. It also activates many enzymes. Now, potassium is a dominant cation present in a plant. Cation is a positive ion. So, K+, that is a dominant cation present in a plant. It activates enzymes. When I say it activates the enzymes which are required for the process of photosynthesis, the respiration, the synthesis of proteins and starch. So, for all these processes, we need enzymes, and those enzymes are activated by potassium. Stomatal movement, as I said just now, that the opening and the closing of stomata is governed by the concentration of the potassium ions. So here you can see when the concentration of the potassium ion increases, the stomata opens. When the concentration of the potassium ion decreases, the stomata closes. So the stomatal movement is completely governed by the concentration of the potassium ions inside the guard cells. Fruit quality improvement. Now, how does potassium ion improves the quality of fruit? Now, it enhances the flavor as well as the color on fruits and vegetable crops. It also tends to reduce diseases on them, and therefore the fruit quality improves. Now, this potassium element is present in large quantities in meristematic tissues, buds, leaves and root tips. So mainly it is present in those regions from where new growth take place. So it is present in all those areas. It maintains anion-cation balance in cells so that the perfect balance is there. If there is too much of anions or if there is too much of cation, that might cause problems. So it helps to maintain the ion balance. Source of potassium, it is obtained from fertilizer, of course. It is also obtained from organic materials which are rich in potassium. Now let us see what happens due to deficiency of potassium. Now due to deficiency of potassium, poor yield, because potassium helps in the growth of the plant. So if the growth is impacted, obviously the yield will also get impacted. Spotted or curled leaves. So you can observe this is like a deficiency symptom. What will tell you that the plant might be deficient of potassium? On leaves you often see dark spots, and sometimes the leaves get curled. For example, this is a normal leaf without any deficiency. After being deficient, you see these kind of spots. Some yellowish color, some brown spots. So all those things are there, and also the leaves tend to curl from outside. Yellowing of leaves, as I said. The next one is calcium. If you talk about the role of calcium, it helps in cell wall synthesis, spindle formation during cell division, the most important purpose of calcium. So when I say cell wall synthesis, just try to remember the composition of cell wall. So in the cell wall, you have the layer middle lamella which separates the adjacent cells. Below that you have the primary cell wall, right? So this middle lamella is made up of calcium pectate. So calcium pectate. So there you can see that calcium is playing an important role in the composition of cell wall. It also helps in during spindle formation and cell division. In cell division, these thread-like structures are formed. The threads which used to form the cytoskeleton, that is the microtubules, the same filaments are used to form these spindle structure. Now these filaments are also made up of calcium. So that ways it also helps in the formation of spindle. So now cell division, cell wall, they are all very crucial for the life of a living organism, not only plant, for any living organism. So that ways calcium plays an important role. It also activates many enzymes which are helpful in many metabolic reactions. Source of calcium, fertilizer, of course, dolomitic lime as well as gypsum. So what is dolomitic lime? It is nothing but an anhydrous carbonate mineral. That is, it has calcium as well as magnesium. So this is the composition of dolomite lime. So this is also a source of calcium. Gypsum is again another soft mineral which has calcium and sulfate. It can be used as a fertilizer, and it is a main constituent in many forms of plaster. You would have heard of plastering the walls of your house and all. So that plaster, it contains gypsum, and gypsum has calcium. So that means gypsum is also a source of calcium. What would happen if the plant is deficient of calcium? Retarded growth in roots, stems and flowers, yellowing of leaf margins, spots on leaves and fruits. So again, the symptoms are almost similar in different deficiencies, but not exactly similar. So here you can see these are the fruits, and in the fruits you see the bottom part is rotten. You can actually see some spots on the fruits. So this disease is known as blossom end rot disease in a fruit. So this is because the end part is being rotten. That is why it is called blossom end rot. Next is magnesium. It is a major constituent of chlorophyll. So if you look at the structure of a chlorophyll, you can see the presence of magnesium. And how important chlorophyll is for a plant, I don't think I need to tell you that, because chlorophyll is the main thing because of which the process of photosynthesis take place. And photosynthesis is the process by which plants prepare their own food. It also activates enzymes which are needed for growth of the plant, for producing sugars, fats, carbohydrates. It is also essential for germination of seeds. So see, all these small functions together make magnesium important. It also helps in RNA and DNA synthesis. So RNA and DNA, they contain the genetic information. So in plants also, the genetic traits get carried from parents to the offspring. That is because of DNA and RNA. So production or formation of DNA and RNA is very important. And magnesium plays a role in the synthesis of DNA and RNA. It also plays a very important structural role in the cell membranes, not only the membrane of the cell but also the membrane of the cell organelles, because we all know that in eukaryotes, each of the organelle which is present inside a cell has a separate membrane for itself. So in the construction of that membrane also magnesium is helpful. So as I said, structural role in membranes of organelles. Source of magnesium, magnesium is absorbed as magnesium ion, that is Mg2+. So it can be obtained from fertilizer. It can also be obtained from dolomitic lime. As I said just now, dolomitic lime has both calcium and magnesium. Organic materials, other organic materials also has a lot of magnesium. Scarcity of magnesium will cause yellowing of leaves, or leaves fall off early. So in some plants what happens is leaves fall off before the desired time. Now frequent falling off leaves is also not good, because if the leaves are not there, the sites for photosynthesis are missing. So it will become difficult to carry out the process of photosynthesis. And without photosynthesis, nothing can happen to a plant. Sulfur. Role of sulfur here in the picture, you can actually see sulfur which is yellow in color, and it looks somewhat like this. So it is a major constituent of many amino acids, vitamins, as well as coenzymes. So again, this also makes many other things. So here you can see some of the examples like cysteine and methionine. This is cysteine. This is cysteine. This is methionine. So all of them have sulfur. For vitamins, for example, thiamine, biotin. So all of these has sulfur. So it is it helps in forming so many useful things like amino acids, vitamins, coenzymes. It also promotes plant growth. It imparts flavor to vegetables. So see, these are now these sulfur, iron, zinc, all these are micronutrients. So they are needed in small amounts. So see, flavors to vegetables. So even if flavor is not there to the vegetables, the plant can still survive without a flavor to its vegetables, right? So that is how all these are called trace elements. That is, they are required in traces. If they are there, it is good. Even if they are not there, plants can do without them. Source of sulfur, they are absorbed as sulfate ion from the soil. They are also absorbed as SO2 from the atmosphere. Soil and atmosphere, from both the places they can be absorbed, but from soil in this form and from atmosphere in the form of SO2 gas, that is sulfur dioxide. Deficiency of sulfur can cause the fading of the color of leaves. So if the leaf colors were dark before, so gradually it starts fading. For example, here in this picture you see, earlier it was dark green, gradually it is becoming light green. From light green it will become even lighter, and gradually it might even turn into white. So the color of the leaves start to fade. Excess of sulfur dioxide is toxic to plants. Now, as I said, sulfur is absorbed from soil as sulfate, and it is absorbed from the atmosphere in the form of sulfur dioxide. But sulfur dioxide is okay to be absorbed only if it is within a limited quantity. But if too much of sulfur dioxide is absorbed, it can cause harm to the plant. Thank you. Please visit www.examfear.com to watch more videos, attempt free online test, get free study material, find tutors and mentors. Thank you once again.